So let me say good evening to everyone that's on Ignite After Dark. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be on. I'll be your facilitator for tonight. My name is Tyrone Whitby. I'm a productivity coach with Keller Williams Preferred Properties in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I'm a licensed real estate agent, just like many of you that are on. I'm licensed in DC and in Maryland. I've been practicing for, sometimes I hate to say, at least 30 years. And it's been quite a remarkable journey. It's been quite exciting. So I've managed real estate offices as well. So I'm super excited to be on with you tonight, especially on a subject matter that I really, really love. And that subject matter is find seller leads and set seller appointments. And I hope that you guys are really, really excited about it as well, because the market that we're in is a very, very challenging market for buyers. So tonight's objective is really to propel you into immediate productivity. And this session is totally geared toward listings. So we've got quite a bit of material to cover tonight. We've got some role play built in as well. So let's get, let me ask this before I actually get started. Does anyone have any questions before we start the session? Also in the chat, there is a link for the student materials. So if you look in the chat, there is a link for student materials in the link. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about what we're going to cover tonight or any other questions? Okay. All right. Looks like we're good. Let me just see if there was anything real quick in the chat. No, doesn't look like there was anything that needs to be addressed. Okay. Okay. And next Tuesday's Ignite class has been moved. There is a note in the chat, a reminder to everyone that next Tuesday's Ignite class has been moved to Monday at 7 p.m. March 7th, rather, at 6 to 8 p.m., the usual time, but it has been moved to next Monday, okay? So make sure you make the adjustment in your schedule. All right, I would also, as we're continuing to go on, I'd just like to get an idea of, is there anybody that would like to share anything with us that they're actually grateful for in this real estate journey? Is there anything that you found that you are actually grateful for in this real estate journey? So if you'd like to share, just press the space bar and hold it down and speak. And we want to pick any of that up. So if there's anybody that would like to share, what are you grateful for so far in your real estate journey? I'm sorry, go ahead, Gwen.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say how grateful I am for my team and their outpouring of support. I'm a brand new agent, and every single person at my office has been extremely helpful to me. If it weren't for them, I'd be completely lost. I probably would have quit on the first day. So thank you to everyone who has helped me. As the host of Ignite, I've learned a lot. So I'm very grateful for that as well.
Wow, just out of curiosity, how long have you been practicing, Leslie?
It hasn't even been a month. Brand new.
Okay, well, good. Well, I see you already picking up success habits and you're doing the right things right from the very beginning. So that way you don't have to unlearn a lot of things.
Right, thank you.
So you're off to a great start. Which market center are you out of?
I'm in Annapolis at Keller Williams Select Realtors.
Okay. All right. Okay, beautiful. All right. Anybody else had anything that they'd like to just share in terms of what they're grateful for in this real estate journey thus far?
I wanted to share, Coach. This is
Go ahead.
From Keller Williams Preferred Properties. I just want to say it's been 8 months and it's been a roller coaster ride. I love everybody at my brokerage. Everybody has been a wealth of knowledge and support and help, and as being part of the development portion of Keller Williams Preferred Properties, I loved it. I would not take this for anything else. I love everything about it.
Wow. Okay, well, that's a good start. So we're going to dive into the material as well. Thank you for those unsolicited words of encouragement, excitement, and just great experience thus far. And we want to keep it that way. So tonight's session, in terms of find seller leads and seller appointments, we want to remember that really the money in residential real estate is on the listing side of the business. And there are a number of reasons for that. Now, we would never tell anyone not to have a buyer and not to cash a check. And there's some agents that are in the business that are strictly buyer agents, okay? One of the things that we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of downward pressure on brokerage fees throughout real estate. And we know, particularly on the buy side, that can be very challenging. We're seeing that with new home builders, as well as on the resale side. So having the opportunity to get seller leads and get seller listings can be a big plus. And it can actually decrease the amount of time that you're investing in each potential client, especially if you have a seller client. Now, one of the things that I've been asked on some of the classes that I teach, because I'm a certified continuing education instructor as well. So I teach continuing education to agents. And also I do a number of different classes in my market center. And, you know, I often get asked this question: what do I think 2022 will be like in the real estate market? And I have done research, and I've read different articles, gotten information in terms of hearing what some of the leading CEOs are saying in the business. While I have you here, one of the things I would highly recommend, and you're able to access this information free through your Bright MLS subscription, would be that you subscribe to Inman News, INMAN. I'm going to put that in the chat, that you subscribe to Inman News, and it's free to Bright MLS subscribers. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you. And I just dropped that in the chat. And you can get consulted by the leading CEOs from the articles that you read there. And 2020, because one of the things that is shared is that in 2021, 70% of listings saw a bidding war nationally. So 70% of the homes that were listed had multiple offers on them in 2021. Now, not only does this spring market look like it will be red hot, there's a chance that it will be hotter than actually 2021. We're already seeing bidding wars are picking up again. I was previewing a house for one of my coaching clients on this past Sunday, and the house was listed at $500,000. And I went inside the property, and just judging it, it looked like it needed about $50,000 worth of work. And I said, well, let me check with the listing agent today just to see what happened with the property, because she told me when I spoke with her on Sunday, all offers would be presented on Monday. So I checked with her, actually I checked with her today, and she said that that property for $500,000, she actually got a bid $60,000 over the list, $60,000 over list. And that property needed $50,000 worth of work. Now, I'm not getting into the appraisal side of it or whether it appraised this or that. It's just, this is the competition that's out here in the marketplace. All right. So if there's anyone out here that would like to share anything that they've encountered on the buy side, feel free to do that, because I'm sure that would help all of us that are on the Zoom tonight. So is there anyone that would like to share their experience in terms of them working with buyers and what they're seeing and what has happened? I know there's one. I know you have some buyers. I know you've written some offers. So I see Leslie, me too. So Leslie, you want to share with us on that?
I don't have any buyers right now. Sorry.
Oh, you don't have any buyers? Okay, who has had a buyer and you wrote an offer? Anybody? And what was that experience like? Now we have 24 participants, so I know somebody has.
I'll go.
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Donna.
Sure. The last buyer that I was working with, we wrote several offers. He was not someone who would take advice. He always wanted to get a deal. And I know that there were parents in the background that were saying, you never pay full price, that type of thing. And then he went to an open house on his own, came back and said, I want to write on this. So I looked it up. We wrote, and it was in horrible condition. So we wrote, it got accepted because at that point that property had been on the market quite a while. So I guess they were just willing to take anything. It was in an estate too. And it got accepted. So we did the home inspection and he dropped out because of the home inspection. It was, like I said, it was in horrible condition. But when you have buyers that won't listen and think they know better, or they have family that thinks they know better, it causes a problem. When you're talking about multiple offers, I have a listing that is under contract. And we had multiple offers on the second day. The one offer was poorly written. It was unfortunate, but it was missing addendums. It didn't have finance information, missing the finance addendum, missing the earnest money, missing a pre-qual letter. It was missing, and that wasn't all, but the finance wasn't there. So my seller said, well, I can't even tell if they're qualified. So selected the other offer, even though the one she turned down was a higher offer. It just was poorly written and she didn't want to mess with it. We go under contract, and within 2 weeks, the buyer got cold feet and had written it as is with the right to terminate, inspections and the right to terminate, canceled the inspections and still asked for termination, which the seller didn't really have to do, but we did. She said, I don't want anybody being forced to buy something. So back on the market, the party that wrote the second offer that we turned down immediately saw it, and I was in the process of calling all the agents who had seen it. But they said they wanted to write again. Asked me about the first offer, which obviously I'm not permitted to tell them the details of the other offers. So I didn't. I just said, make it your best offer and let's see what happens. Well, we got 2 offers in again the next day. And again, this offer still didn't have finance information, still didn't have all kinds of things. Again, it was higher than the other offer, but because it was poorly written, my seller said, nope, not going with that one. We'll go with the other one, and selected that. So I guess the moral of the story is, make sure if you're writing offers and you're brand new, that you do check in with your mentor or someone in compliance in your office to make sure that you have all the pieces together. Because even though it may look good as far as the numbers, if you don't have your pre-qualification letter, your copy of your earnest money deposit, and you don't have your finance information together, or just other things poorly written, you're not going to be considered.
Well, thank you for that information. You know, the information that you're sharing definitely will help anyone that is in the process of presenting a purchase agreement. So that was very powerful information. And we're going to cover some of that as we go through the Zoom tonight. So thanks so much for that, Donna. I really appreciate you sharing. Okay, so what we'll focus on today, we're going to focus on two things that every agent has to do in this business: grow their business and run a business. This is not just about selling houses. This is also, can you run a business? We've seen this in many other industries. Just because someone is great at doing hair doesn't mean they should own a salon. Just because someone is a great baker, should they have a bakery? Can they run a business? So some people are skill-based, talent-based. However, they're not business savvy. So let's start on the grow the business side. Number one, lead generate for buyers and sellers. So in this market, I'm going to flip that. If I were the person putting this together right now, it would be lead generate for sellers, and then I would have buyers. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure that you do in this market, there's a difference in the market that we're in now, because we're in a market that is unprecedented. And the predictions are that for 2022, as hot as 2021 was, the predictions are that 2022 may surpass 2021. And we know that 2021 was an amazing market. Amazing. It's almost hard to fathom that 2022 could outpace 2021. But there are many projections out there that it will. And I'll be honest, I'm of that same mind, because I see that there's some indicators out there that I think will happen. One, we're not seeing a dramatic increase in inventory, and the number of days on market is still substantially very low. Also, you always are going to have your spring buyers that come into the marketplace. Traditionally, that's every year in real estate. However, some people in the general public now are becoming aware that interest rates are increasing. So many of those people that were on the sidelines, in my opinion, I think many of those people are going to flood into the marketplace. I think that many of them are going to flood into the marketplace. So you're going to have those people as well. So I think you're going to have a swell of additional buyers in the marketplace bidding up the properties. Now, if we look at where interest rates are right now, they're still below 4%. And even if they were at 4%, and I don't know how long some of you have been in the market, been in real estate. Now, sometimes you can date yourself by saying what interest rates you remember. Now, when I got into real estate, I wasn't one of the people, because I've heard the stories from colleagues that were in the business when interest rates were 16%, double digits. And believe it or not, the real estate market was a hot market. Now, you might say, now, wait a minute, come on. Interest rates were 16% and it was a hot real estate market? Oh yeah, it was. Now, when I got in, interest rates were 10.5%. So a lot of times when somebody is telling me that they want to wait for interest rates to go down a quarter, it's like hard for me to really get my head around that. So the rates aren't unbearable. But some of the statistics going on right now with rates starting to increase, someone buying a home that's around $400,000, you're looking at, with rates increasing, you're looking at an additional $250 to $300 a month payment. That's what's going on right now. All right. So let's look at this in terms of, it's great to talk about having sellers, but you have to get the leads from somewhere. So one of the things you have to figure out is, where's your business going to come from? So I would ask you this question. I would ask you to write down on a sheet of paper, what is your 2022 GCI goal? In other words, gross commission income goal for 2022. What is that number? Now, I often joke because in coaching, sometimes I'll ask that question of a coaching client and I'll ask them to write it on a sheet of paper. And then I'll say to them, I'm going to guess what your number is. Now, I'm not going to be right all the time. However, I found that I'm right in a good majority of the cases if I write $100,000. That seems to be the magical number for some reason. One, because it's 6 figures. Everybody knows 6 figures starts there. So a lot of people select that number. And we laugh and joke about that because sometimes they'll turn the paper over and they'll say, how did you know that it was? Because I've asked that question a lot of times. All right. Now, here's the next question I would ask you. Of that number that you have written down, because a lot of agents think about what they want to make. The next question I would ask you, what percent of that $100,000, $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, whatever your number is, what percent of that number would represent that it came from listings? Would it be, I don't know, 60-40 buyers? Would it be 50-50? Would it be 70-30? Would it be 80-20? I don't know. Now, for some people that are new, you don't have a track record yet, so you're guessing. So I would say, what would you like it to be? This is what I would also say to you. If the number is greater as a percentage of buyers to listing, a couple of things I know will pretty much be true. And one of them will be, it's going to take you longer to get to that number with buyers, and you're going to be making less money per buyer. Now, here's what Coach didn't say. Coach did not say don't have buyers, okay? All right, so I want to make that clear. I don't want to get a call from the region tomorrow. I was on with Coach, he said that you shouldn't have no, Coach didn't say that. Coach did not say that, okay? All right, and there are a number of reasons for that. Maybe we'll talk about those a little bit later, but I do want to get through what we have scheduled for tonight, and we've got a pretty awesome lineup for tonight, okay? So the next thing is, what are you going to do to get listings? So let's say that you had, your percent was 70-30 listing to buyer. Now, a statistic in real estate, less than 10% of the agents in real estate are listing agents. The majority of agents in real estate predominantly work with buyers. That's just how it is. Look at your market center. You can look at your market center and you're going to find the majority of the agents have a buyer-heavy business. Now, what's the challenge in this market? Right now, if you have 5 pre-approved buyers in this marketplace right now, you would be extremely busy. So anybody that really knows this game, think about it. If you had 5 buyers in the market that we're in, and we're dealing with multiple offers, you would be extremely busy. Now, could you handle 5 listings? Sure. Could you handle 10 listings? Sure. Could you handle 15 listings? Sure. Because once you put them into the MLS, guess what? So, right? Okay. All right. So that means if your split is 70-30 that you're looking to do 70% sellers versus 30% buyers, 70% of your activities need to be what activities then? Listing agents, listing activities. So I just want to really give you sort of a measuring stick in terms of whatever that number is, how am I going to get to the number? So what activities should I be doing? So you want to be doing predominantly listing activities if that's what you're looking to attract. All right, now we'll talk about some of the places that you can look for them. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into your SOI. We're going to get into some other avenues for attracting sellers. All right, number 2, you need to make seller listing presentations and get listings. I don't really typically deviate from the material too much in terms of how they have things. However, I would say think about it as actually making seller listing consultations as opposed to presentations. Now, you might say, well, why? Why are you saying that? Well, there's a difference between a presentation and a consultation. Which do you feel is more valuable? A consultation or a presentation? Which do you feel has more value? And then typically, it can be a mindset thing as well. Well, Coach, what do you mean by that? Well, a lot of times when you are thinking about presenting, that's exactly what you do. Presenting is a lot of presenting, talking. Consulting is a little bit different. Consulting is a lot of listening. That's huge. That's huge. Because when you're listening, what a consultant does is they listen to determine the problem, that they're clear on what the problem is, and then they present solutions. I'd write that down. I really would. I would definitely write that down. Because mindset in this business is huge. Okay? So we want to do consultations. And if a consultation is more valuable, then maybe that justifies your brokerage fee as well. Wouldn't you agree? That leaves the money. Because I didn't come out here and give you a dog and pony show, a whole bunch of slides and PowerPoints and this and this and this and this and that without determining what the problem was. Yeah, I may give you some of that, but I'm going to be great at asking questions. And that's the key to a good consultation. Because if you're asking great questions and you're asking questions that you know the seller will answer yes to, it's hard for them to get all the way to the end. And then it's this, when they've been saying, yeah, yeah, Because a great consultation, if you are aware of it, because one of the things that I personally went through early in my career, and I've seen, because I've coached thousands of agents. I've coached agents that have been rookies of the year in their boards, rookie of the year with Keller Williams Mid-Atlantic region, consecutive years. And one of the things, and I fell into that as well, is it's interesting to see an agent go out on a listing consultation, and they may be out there an hour, 2 hours, whatever the amount of time is, and they get all the way to the end of the consultation, and they still don't know whether they have the listing or not. An effective listing consultation, you would know you have the listing before you ever get to the end of it, if you're asking the right questions. And you probably heard this in sales. They say ABC, always be closing. Always be closing. There's a great movie, I don't know, at least I like the movie. It's a little, it can be a little raunchy because some of the language can be a little heavy on it. The movie is Glengarry Glen Ross. And I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but take a look at Glengarry Glen Ross. Alec Baldwin is in it. Jack Lemmon is in it. Al Pacino is in it. And there are a couple of other stars as well. And there's a great line in the movie because the salespeople are sitting around with their feet up on the desk, and they bring Alec Baldwin in, and he's the what is he? He's like the hitman for these guys. He comes in to shake them up, and they're sitting around, and one of them goes to get a cup of coffee, and Alec Baldwin says to him, "Coffee is for closers." So in other words, you don't get to go over there and drink no coffee for you ain't closing nothing. Coffee is for closers. We don't just drink coffee in here. So if you get a chance, check the movie out, Glengarry Glen Ross. It's about sales because they're selling real estate, but they're doing some unscrupulous things. Now, I don't want any of you doing any of that. All right, so the next thing, make buyer presentations and get listings. All right, now, one of the things real quick on this, make seller and buyer presentations, make sure that you're pre-qualifying anybody that you work with, whether it's a seller or a buyer. Some agents think because they have a listing opportunity that they don't need to qualify a seller. Yes, you do. Just because you have an opportunity doesn't mean it's going to turn into anything. Just because you have an opportunity doesn't mean it's the right opportunity. Okay. All right. So we're going to make the presentations and we're going to preview real estate. So previewing real estate keeps you informed in what's going on in the market, what the prices are, what are the trends, that type of thing. Let's go over to the other side and let's look at, well, let me go back. Let's look at run the business. All right, market seller listing. So after you get the listing, you need to market it. Now, we're not finding that there's a whole bunch of marketing going on in this market because the market is so hot. You put a listing in MLS now, you have, by the time you press submit, a lot of times somebody's calling you immediately. Hey, did you just press the submit button? I have a qualified buyer ready to come over and write an offer on that property. We're ready to go. Okay. All right. Show buyers houses. You know, I had a somewhat radical thought on this buyer thing. Because if you have 5 to 6 buyers right now, more than likely, anybody that's on this call, if you have at least 5 buyers, I'm sure that at least 2 to 3 of them are in a similar price range. They're in a similar price range, I'm sure. So that means if you can't find a house for one, guess what? You've got 2 others that you can't find a house for because they're in the same price range. I was saying something to one of the agents today. I said, you know what? I think if I had that many buyers right now, I don't happen to have one right now, but I think I would rent one of those vans, one of those like conversion vans. And I think I would put them all in the van and I would drive all of them to the properties that are in that price range at the same time and see who bites. Because somebody's gonna be motivated if they're in there with 3 other people and they know they're in the same price range. So it's tough out here. You've got to maximize your time. Negotiate contracts. Another thing that I would say that you may want to invest in is to take a class in negotiation. Many of the community colleges offer the classes. Well, Coach, why are you saying that? Because in this market right now, it's a big advantage to have great negotiating skills. And it's great to have that on your resume. If it came down to a seller making a choice between 2 agents and one agent was a skilled, trained negotiator and had a certificate that said that versus another agent that wanted that same listing and they didn't have it, if you were a seller, who do you think would probably be able to get you more money? The trained, skilled, certified negotiator or the person that had none of those credentials? Just who do you think? I'm not saying the person that didn't have credentials couldn't do it, but perception is reality. And many of those courses are one day. They don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be a real estate related because negotiation is negotiation. You can negotiate on any product. You can negotiate on jewelry. You can negotiate on a fur coat. You can negotiate on real estate. So there are a number of things to be negotiated on. So I would recommend a negotiation class. Transaction management to closing. Right now in the real estate market that we're in, one of the things that Keller Williams really teaches is transaction management. Having a TC, you'll hear the term over and over again with Keller Williams. Do you have a TC? Do you have a transaction coordinator? A lot of people balk at spending the money. Well, is it about the money or your time? Because if you have a TC is freeing you up. There's a book that's called The One Thing. The One Thing. And it's written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And basically what it talks about is the 80-20 principle. And I would say in real estate now, it's the 90-10 principle, but let's just stick with the 80-20. And basically, it's like 90% of the agents, or 10% of the agents rather in real estate are generating 90% of the income. I mean, that's just the deal. You go to any real estate office, the numbers will bear themselves out. So if you're hiring a TC, you're hiring a TC. Matter of fact, I had this conversation with one of my coaching clients today. She just hired a TC, transaction coordinator. And some of you guys that have been with Keller for a while, you may be aware of Cyberbacker. You may be aware of Cyberbacker. And she hired a Cyberbacker. And believe me, they're not cheap. And I said to her, that was a great addition that you brought on. However, what was the reason that you hired them? And the reason was to free up more of your time so that you can concentrate on your 20%, not the 80%. 20% of your activities should generate 80% of your income, not 80% of your activities generating 20% of your income. And that's how most people run their businesses. That's just how it goes. So be firm on what your 20% is. And in the MREA, and basically on page 44, Gary talks about leads, listing, leverage. Doesn't say anything about buyers. Page 44, MREA, leads, listing, leverage. Okay. All right. Then your vendor, number 5, your vendor management. Your vendor management are the people that are on your team. It would be your home inspectors. It would be the loan officers. It could be the title company. So vendor management. Remember, as a real estate professional, you're the glue that holds the transaction together. Title company doesn't hold it together. Lender doesn't hold it together. In most cases, the broker isn't holding it together. That's not their role. They'll help you if you have some challenges. So your vendor management. Number 6, make sure you set goals. I asked one of my coaching clients today. She's bringing on a transaction coordinator and a cyberbacker. And the question I asked, well, by you bringing these people on, how many closed transactions should you achieve because you brought these people on? And she thought about it. She was like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. So if I'm making a hire, that should generate some business because it's freeing me up to concentrate on my 20% activities. So make sure you've set your goal. Now, I don't know what your goals are. I mean, if we were just looking at this at a minimum, you know, I'm not the broker in your market center. However, I mean, knowing the market that we're in, you know, I think a starting goal could be a listing a month. One listing a month to start. Now, I mean, you know, you have to determine what your goals are. However, in this market, you need to have some listings. That's just straight up. Because when you have listings, it makes a difference. Because when you have buyers, it's like owning, it's like when you have buyers, it's like a buyer is going into a store and taking product off the shelf. They're taking inventory off the shelf is a buyer. When you have listings, it's like you're the owner of the store and you're stocking the shelves and you're helping to price the product. So you are employing other people. Everybody get that? Any questions about any of this? Any questions? Let me look at the chat because I see some stuff. Real quick, let me look. Okay. There's quite a few things in the chat. Think consultation, become a problem solver, yes. Why do we have to qualify sellers? Someone asked. Because they can waste a lot of your time. Just because somebody says they're a seller doesn't mean that they're a seller. I can give you a prime example. Have an agent, one of my coaching clients, call me on Sunday or Monday. I don't remember which day. I think it was Monday. Told me that she was going out, that she had a listing consultation the next day at 12 o'clock. I was excited for her. So we started talking a little bit and I started asking some questions. So I said, well, how much does the seller want to net? And she told me $100,000. I was like, well, how much do they owe? She told me they owed $254. And I said, well, where would you price the property? And she said something like $340. So my next question was, how are they going to net $100,000? So you're going on an appointment that you're going to have a pricing problem with immediately before you even get there. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't go on the appointment. However, again, as a consultant, a great consultant does what? Ask great questions, right? Okay, we went a little bit further, and then she shared with me, she said, oh, the wife took the husband off the mortgage. So I then asked, is he on the deed? She said, yes. So how are you listing this property if he's on the deed and nobody's had this conversation about selling the property? Now, suppose he's her ex-husband, by the way. So they're divorced. So I don't know what the chances are of him signing this. And if he's signing this, do you think he wants any money? So how are you netting this $100,000? So again, asking questions before you go out. Just because you have an opportunity doesn't mean it's the right opportunity. Now, in this particular case, I'm not saying that something can't come of this, but you qualify sellers just like you would qualify buyers. Okay, and we're going to get into some of the qualifying questions in a little bit. And actually, that's kind of funny because I kind of have them like here, but I want to keep going because I'll get bogged down on the first page. I'm not even through the next slide, so let me keep going. Also, after setting the goals, compliance and risk management, Donna alluded to this a little bit. As a real estate professional, you want to get all of the training that you can get. If you're new to the business, I'd recommend that you start doing mock sales contracts, mock listing agreements like right now. Do it on your own house. As Donna said, this is not the market to have poorly written either listing agreements or contracts of sale. Agents are not going to be calling you to tell you to send additional addendums. You missed initials, you missed signatures, you didn't have a copy of the EMD check. I got 6 other offers where people did put them in shape. And there's nothing worse than possibly a seller finding out, or a buyer finding out rather, that they lost out simply because they actually had a better purchase agreement, but the agent poorly wrote the offer. Suppose the buyer found that out. That would be a problem. Because Donna said that somebody had offers that were good offers, but they were so sloppily and poorly written. The agent didn't want to really, deal with them, or the seller didn't want to deal with them. It's a very competitive market. All right. The other thing I would recommend too, if you're writing purchase agreements, I would recommend that you start submitting cover letters with them. I would totally recommend you have cover letters. Well, when you say cover letters, coach, what do you mean? Where it gives the price that you're offering, when the possible date of closing is going to be, what type of financing, how much is the EMD, who's the title company, where agents can see this at a glance versus them having to flip back continuously to look for that. Okay, so look at having a cover letter. Agents appreciate that. Listing agents really do. And then too, when a purchase agreement is poorly written, agents kind of extrapolate on that because they feel if that's the way the purchase agreement was written, that if they start getting into the transaction with the agent, that's how the agent will handle their business. I don't know if you've ever had this situation. There's some agents that you do business with that if you're the listing agent, you not only have to do your side of the transaction, the listing side, you have to do their side of it. That is extremely frustrating when you don't represent their client. However, you want to get the deal done for who? Your client. I don't know if anybody's been there. I know I have. Okay. All right. The other thing too, remember with Keller Williams, we use command. Here's another thing that I'm seeing with more agents than I would like to, is in command, please make sure that when you have leads and then you're going to get people under contract, please start them as opportunities in command so that you can access your DocuSign forms the right way. So start your people in opportunities. Also, I hate to say it, but I've seen situations where agents have gone to closing and they were not compliance approved. And now you're trying to chase down a buyer or a seller to get them to sign a document, initial something after they've gone to settlement. People don't have any motivation once they've gone to closing. I'm in the house, you know, guess what? I just got YouTube TV set up and I'm chilling at the house and now you're coming back to me a week after I went to settlement saying you want me to sign something. I would be suspicious because I'm thinking you're trying to pull something over because we went to what? Settlement. We went to closing. Okay, so make sure that you're compliance approved. Attend training and get coaching. Any of your contract classes, your listing classes, please take the classes. A lot of times I'll get somebody knocking on my door that wants me to help them, and I don't mind helping anyone. However, they're in a position to get their first listing, and when I ask them, have they taken the listing class, the listing contract class? Nope. But guess what? Now you got an opportunity for a listing. So take the training. All right. Last thing, manage your money. Manage your money. Make sure you're taking those taxes out. The brokerage does not take any taxes out of this money. And that can seem real nice when you say, oh, I need all of the money. And if you're an independent contractor, guess what? Your taxes are due quarterly. Quarterly. IRS isn't waiting until April 15th, and I believe this year 17th, to get their money. You owe them the money quarterly. You're not working a government job here. Okay. All right. So we just want to be on point on that. All right. What else we got? All right. We got what the seller wants. All right. Anytime you're going to go on a listing consultation, never go on a listing consultation if you don't know why the seller wants to sell. That's in my opinion. And I know that there are agents going out on appointments and they don't know why the seller wants to sell. All right. So know why the seller wants, know their motivation. Because think about this. If a person isn't motivated, it doesn't matter how much they're going to get. It doesn't matter how quickly you can do it. They're not motivated. And a person that's not motivated will have all kinds of excuses. And sometimes you don't know the real excuse because you haven't drilled down deep enough to find out that they're not motivated. So always find out, why do you want to sell? The next thing you want to know is when. When? What's the timing on this? Well, we want to sell. My husband is retiring in 2024, but we want you to come out and look at the house now so that we would just get an idea of what we could be fixing and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's 2 years from now. Something else could be broke in 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that I won't make the connection. However, know people's timing. They may have urgency. They may need to get their home on the market immediately this week. So please ask the question. So know their timing, their motivation. And another great question is, how much are they looking to walk away with in their pocket? So great. So you guys say that you're selling, oh, you got a job promotion. Wow. And where would you be moving? You would be moving to where? Oh, Boca Raton, Florida. For any Seinfeld fans out there, y'all know the reference. Okay, so, that sounds exciting. And what would your new position be? Wow, you'd be the regional director for MedStar South Florida. Wow. How long have you wanted that position? Oh, wow, for the last 3 years. Oh, okay. And when do they want you to start for them? Oh, they want you to start in, you said in June? Wow, that means we need to get busy immediately. Okay. And just out of curiosity, what would happen if you didn't get your home on the market and get it sold to that position? Oh, they would select someone else. Wow. So why don't we do this? I don't mind. Why don't we get together so that I can show you how I help sellers like yourselves get their home sold and live their dreams. That is what you want, isn't it? Boom. So we're asking great questions and we're setting up the appointment. Okay, everybody good? Okay, beautiful. All right, we'll keep pushing. Let's see. Now, we're going to get into, before the appointment, that's using your client qualifier. Write this down. Use a client qualifier prior to the appointment. This is over the phone before you ever get to the house. Why are you moving? When did you want to move or have to move? How long have you lived in your present home? What major improvements have you made to your property? Who else are you talking to about the sale of your house? So I would rather know that before I went on that appointment. Are they talking to someone else? Because if they're talking to someone else, I need to be prepared for that. And if you are talking to someone else, who are you talking to? You know, oh, you said you're speaking with another real estate company? Okay, I can certainly appreciate that. I know most of the real estate agents and most of the companies because we all cooperate together. Just out of curiosity, which company are you talking to? We're talking to Mary Poppins Realty. Oh, okay, Mary Poppins, that's a great company. They're a very good company. And I know a lot of the agents over at Mary Poppins. Which agent in particular are you talking to? Oh, Robert Redford. Oh, Robert Redford. Oh, yeah, fabulous agent, fabulous agent, fabulous agent. Okay, I tell you what, you know, let's get together so I can show you what I do. And we can go from there, okay? Whatever you're going to do. All right, then you're going to have your actual listing presentation. Now, one of the things, make sure you're putting together, and this has been taught and preached forever and a day. However, I still see many real estate professionals not doing it, is having a pre-listing package. I'm gonna have to give that to you, having a pre-listing package. That's huge. One of the things that a pre-listing package can do for you immediately is to differentiate you from anybody else they may be talking to. Because think about that. They have something that you've given them before you've ever met them. And then maybe when I'm out there and I'm talking with them, now I'm never going to be an agent that's going to run any agent in the ground. And however, I would ask them the question, folks, did you get a chance to look through the pre-listing package? Yes. Oh, yeah, we did. Okay. And just out of curiosity, what did you find most interesting? Oh, okay. Anything else? Well, okay. And just out of curiosity, you said that you were speaking to another real estate agent, or that you had already met with them. Is that right? Yeah, we did. We met with them on Saturday. Oh, okay, great. And just out of curiosity, because I like to make sure that I'm current and that my materials are just really top of the line. What did their pre-list package look like? I'll wait. They ain't gonna have had one. So already you're different than somebody else. Now, did I run that agent in the ground? Did I run their company in the ground? No. I didn't run their company in the ground. I didn't run the agent in the ground. However, I did differentiate that I'm not that same agent. So I'm working. So putting together a pre-list package, that's showing that I want your business. I'm showing I want your business. Okay? All right. So the pre-list package. A little tip on that real quick. Your pre-list package, this is me now. This is just me saying this. My pre-list package wouldn't be more than probably maybe 12 pages. This isn't some long soliloquy in a book. And basically what it should do is pre-sell you before you ever get there so that you're pre-sold. That's what it's going to do. All right, then you've got the actual listing appointment. If any of you have taken bold, there is a listing presentation in bold. If you go through Ignite, there's information on listing appointments in Ignite. But have a set listing consultation where you know step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this, step 4 is this, step 5 is this, step 6 is this. It's not that I go out here and I hope that they love my raw charisma. No. It should be structured. There should be a pattern to it. It should be duplicatable. Okay? All right. And then what are your daily success habits? Are you daily going after listings? All right. We wrote down a number for income. We assigned a percentage in terms of what percent of our business is going to come from listings and what percent from buyers. So whatever that percentage is, we've got to do that percentage of those activities that are going to get us listing. So if it's 50%, 50%, 60%, 60, 70, 80, whatever that is. So we have to have daily success habits. Okay. All right. So it says recap ahas. Somebody give me some ahas from this real quick, and then we'll keep pushing. Somebody give me some ahas, because I got an hour left. Come on. Somebody hit me up.
Hello?
Yes, Candace.
Yes, I just really appreciate how you're emphasizing training and being structured and prepared. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air. You're like exactly the instructor I've been waiting for.
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh
You're quite welcome. Anyone else? Just any ahas of what we've been talking about to get prepared for listings? Anybody? Please share.
This is really good information because I have been going after buyers, naturally not having any transactions yet, and just having friends come to me as being buyers. I don't really have a comfort level yet with listing. So you've given a lot of good information to kind of start going that route. Okay, beautiful. Okay, all right, then I'm gonna keep pushing and we'll move on. All right, so we talked about that. All right, now, one of the things is how sellers found their agent. And if you'll look, the 39% represents the fact that they were referred by, or the person is a friend, a neighbor, or a relative. So what is that saying to you? What that's saying to you is, don't underestimate the power of your data bank, And I hear agents say this all the time. Oh, well, so-and-so not gonna buy a house. They're not gonna sell a house. They've been there for like 20 years and they're not gonna move. And then sometimes I'll see, I drove down the street and I was shocked to see that my aunt sold her house. We've all been there on that one. Don't decide for people whether they're going to buy or sell. Your job is to do what? Your job is to stay in touch. All right. Now, many agents, think that getting into this business, a lot of it is spending a bunch of money on marketing materials. I'm going to farm this neighborhood. I'm going to get door hangers. I've got these flyers going. I've got the social media presence. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have some of those things. The thing that I would recommend to you first, before you start reaching out to people that don't know you, focus on the people that know you, like you, trust you, and your only job with those folks is for them to remember you. When you're getting outside of that, you're dealing with people that don't know you, don't like you, don't trust you. So now you got 4 things to accomplish versus people that already know you, like you, and trust you. You got 1 thing.
for them to remember you and for you to be top of mind when it comes to real estate. And again, that's why Gary had Command developed. Gary developed Command because they did surveys and they found that on average, many real estate agents are spending anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 a month on marketing materials and a bunch of third-party sites that they charge you for. So Gary was like, look, I'm gonna put something together for you guys that has everything there. And Command has everything. It has a social media presence. It has a direct mail presence there. It has a database with it. It has training with it. It has your financials with it to run your business. And that was one of the areas we talked about early on, right? So the thing I would say to you, especially if you're new, before you start spending a bunch of money on third-party things, learn Command and use what's in Command first. And then if there's something that you feel that you need outside of that, then fine. But use things that you don't have to have a lot of capital outlay on. And then use things that are compatible with Keller. Because when you start getting third-party sites, a lot of those things aren't compatible with Keller. That would be like you having an iPhone and then I give you an Android charger. An Android charger isn't compatible with an iPhone. And then you're gonna try to make a way to make that charger work. Really? Would it work as effectively as an iPhone charger? No. Okay. All right. So that would just be my personal advice to you. All right, what do we have next? And on our next slide, whoops, hold on, this thing is real sensitive. So on our next one, it's what sellers want. All right, what sellers want from their agent from NAR, National Association of Realtors. This was a 2019 profile on buyers and sellers. And if you look at this, what you'll see is it's interesting of what the makeup is. All right. And on the makeup, if you look at the chart, because I'm trying to see if I can, actually 21% of the people, and they show the colors, and let me see what the little guide is down here. They wanted help finding a buyer. All right. Then you got the black, help sell a home in a specific time frame. Remember, that was one of the motivation questions. So that's why you want to make sure that you ask that question always. Always ask that question. And then after that, I mean, the numbers kind of fall. You had what, they fall after that. But the number one thing is help them find a potential buyer. That's what they were looking for. All right, so let's look at the process of listing. We talked about the pre-listing questionnaire. So I just call it a client qualifier. I went through some of the things with you. Remember that, all right? I asked them, how much did they want to walk away with? I asked them also, what could it do to their plans if they couldn't sell? Now, these are over the phone. A great question to ask people is when you go through the client qualifier with them, one of the great questions is to ask people, am I going to have enough time? You know what? I think I'm going to draft somebody, and I hope she doesn't mind. I'm going to draft somebody. I hope I can draft her. Donna, can I draft you? Because I want you to put something in the chat for me. You good?
Sure.
Okay. All right, here's a question. I'm going to repeat it several times. A great question after you've gone through your client qualifier, like why are you moving? When do you want to move? When do you have to move? How long have you been in your present house? What major improvements have you made to the house? How did you arrive at your price? What are you looking to walk away with? A great question is, when I come out and I present my marketing plan, and if you love my marketing plan, so when I come out and I present my marketing plan, if you love my marketing plan and we can agree on pricing, are you ready to take action with me tonight? I'll repeat it. when I come out and present my marketing plan, if you love my marketing plan and we can agree on price, are you ready to take action with me tonight?
Well, I'm not really sure. I might have to talk to my husband.
Okay, I can certainly appreciate that. And Donna, thanks for being so transparent. You know what? I think it might be better if we actually scheduled an appointment when the both of you could be there, because this would be a major decision for you guys selling the house, wouldn't it?
It is.
Okay, and he's probably going to want to be in on this, I'm sure, with something of this magnitude, right?
Yeah, his main thing is how much money, just how much money is it going to cost him and how much is he going to get out of it?
Okay, I can appreciate that. And just out of curiosity, what's your husband's first name?
Gary.
Gary. Okay, why don't we do this? I don't mind. What's generally the best time that you guys are home together? What time generally does that fall within?
After 6.
After 6? Okay, do me a favor. If you don't mind taking out your calendar, and I'll take mine out real quick, and tell me what would be the first time after 6 that you and Gary would be home together so that both of you would be getting the information at the same time, Donna.
Friday.
Friday. Okay. All right. So I'm going to write that down because that would be Friday, March the 4th, right?
Right.
At 6
right.
p.m. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I look forward to meeting you guys, and let Gary know that I will definitely answer that question for him, because that's an important question of how much you guys are going to walk away with, right?
It is.
Okay. Wonderful. So I look forward to meeting you on Friday at 6 p.m. Have a great day.
Thanks.
All right. Now, that's a real life scenario, and I didn't know she was going to role play that with me, but I appreciate that. And that's real life. Now, could the agent have gone on that appointment? Sure. Now, is that really what you want to do, since both of them are decision makers? Because let's say I went out and I met with Donna. I give Donna the information. Okay, now who has to now give Gary the information? Donna. Now, and I'm not saying Donna's doing anything malicious or anything, but is that information going to get translated to Gary exactly as I gave it to Donna? Probably not. And then guess what could happen? If Gary hears anything that he doesn't feel that was right, I don't get a second chance. It's game over. So it's a wrap. So I wouldn't be going back out to the house. And Gary's getting it from his most trusted person, his spouse. So if he ain't gonna believe her over me. So the person's always gonna believe their spouse over the agent, okay? So I had to think about that, and not as anxious as you may be, or as bad as you may want that listing, I had to rethink that and talk to her about them both being there. So I hope you guys, picked up on that. Okay. All right. Really thank you. Oh, and Donna put it in the chat for you guys. Okay. I think she did she? Yep. Is it in the chat? Is it in the chat, Donna? You're muted.
No, not yet, but I'll put it in there.
Okay. All right. So she wrote it down. If you need me to hit you back on it, let me know and I can give it to you again. Okay. Now, the reason I love that, because just think about this. You're not even at the house. If they were to say yes to that question, you had the listing before you ever left the office or even did a consultation. That's huge. Most agents go on a consultation out there 1 or 2 hours, get to the end of it. Okay, so what do you guys, that's everything I have. So what do you guys want to do? So this right here, they're saying, well, look, if they love your marketing plan and we can agree on price, we're ready to go. That should give you a lot of confidence You should leave the office on cloud 9, knowing that you're walking into a listing that you know you have. Okay. All right, let me keep going. Let's see. All right, send the pre-list package. We talked about that. Create the listing consultation and home walkthrough listing appointment. All right, so when you get there, you want to make sure that you do your own little real estate inspection on the house, because again, condition affects price. Condition affects price. So please remember that condition affects price. All right. We talked about before the listing. Okay, we're gonna move on from that. Let's see what we got down here. State your value. Tell the seller what you bring. Okay. There's a thing that Keller Williams talks about a lot, and what it is, it's knowing your value proposition, your VP, your value proposition. Know your value proposition. Now, well, coach, what do you mean by value proposition? Well, different people bring different things to the arena. Some of you have background. Some of you are dual career agents. You work another job. Some of you are in things that deal with numbers, where you deal with numbers on a daily basis. And people that deal with numbers on a daily basis, like if you're a contract specialist, you are in accounting, you're in government contracts, you're in procurement, then guess what? You're a great person that you bring that to the table of keeping your eye on the seller's money. That's a great thing to have, to hire an agent that's going to make sure that they protect my bottom line. Some of you may be in the healthcare field, where you're in the medical field. You may be a dental in dentistry, a clinic, emergency room, staff nurse, RN, anything that has to do with the healthcare field, okay? A person like that, they're gonna have good bedside manner, and they're typically a person that pays attention to detail. Because when you're in the healthcare field, if you don't pay attention to detail, what can happen to patients? They can die. So you could bring that to bear. Somebody else could be in design, graphics. Somebody else could be great with technology. So I would say right now, just write down quickly, if you had to just write down on a sheet of paper, that sheet of paper where we were working on with the money, your goals, write down what do you think could possibly be your VP. That could change. All right. So I just want you to, when you get off this call, I want you to get off this call where you have some tangible things that you can put into action. I don't want it to be theory, 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 no action. Okay. So 2 phases I want you to operate on. I want you to operate on implementation, execution, and tracking. Write those 3 down. Implementation, execution, and tracking. Tracking, tracking. Okay. And I want you to get heavy on the execution phase. All right. The implementation is your planning. Implementation is the plan. Your execution is the Nike formula. Just do it. And your tracking is know my numbers. Okay. All right. State your value. We talked about that. Pre-selling, build confidence and answer questions. That's a part of your consultation. Save time. Answer objections up front. Okay. The best way to handle an objection is to have such a great consultation that they don't even come up. That's the best way to handle an objection, is for it never to come up, because your consultation was so tight. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, oops, I think I got to go back one. All right. Your actual listing consultation. All right. Remember, this is in Command, and they have a series of different presentation templates that you can choose from in the design library. Okay. All right. So you would go to your Command, and I think the design library is something like, it's 9 icons, I believe, from the top on the left-hand side, because the first one is home and the next one is contacts. And if you count down from that on the left-hand side, I think the Design is either, it might even be 10 because I think reports is 9. I think design is 10, but it's in the design library. Now, remember, you can customize this. You can decide on the cover that you want to use for your template. You can choose the pages that you want. This is all in command in the design library. All right, there are videos as well that show you how to access it and put it together. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So we did that one. All right. Why is this page important? Your needs come first because it's all about your client. It's not about you. It's not about how much you're looking to make. It's not about your needs. It's not about what's comfortable for you. It's what's the best course of action for the client you represent. All right. All right. So ask them to visualize their dream scenario for selling their, and it has here their home. Now I'm going to make a little tweak here. I'm going to use the word house. I would suggest that when you're out on your consultations that you avoid the word home, because typically when you do home, it's a lot of memories and people, they can't sell their memories to a buyer. A buyer could care less about someone's memories. So I want to transform that home into a house so that it becomes a commodity, because we're now doing a business transaction. So I don't want to stay with your home and your feelings and when you had your daughter's first birthday party, and then when she graduated the 6th grade, and then when your daughter got ready for prom and she was at the top of the stairs in her prom dress and her corsage and came down the steps and you remembered that, and when you had the family reunion. No, we're turning this into a product. All right. All right. So on the consultation, you, in my opinion, this is just Tyrone. Okay. I'm not saying that you have to do this, just sharing some thoughts with you. Okay. All right. So their needs come first. So remember that their needs come first. All right. Role model. Present the listing consultation and handle seller objections. Now, really quickly, while I'm thinking of this, I want you to write this down too. When you go out on a listing consultation, there are going to be certain objections that you're going to get. Let me give you a couple of the objections. I'm not saying I'm giving you every objection, but let's look at some. The number one objection that you typically are going to have is going to be on the brokerage fee. How much are you charging? Another sideline, I would recommend, instead of using the word commission, that you start using the word brokerage fee or fee for service or professional fee. Stay away from commission. People don't like to pay people commissions. People feel that you're making commissions off of them. So I'm not going to use that word. Even if they use it, I'm not going to repeat it back because they're going to say commission. Well, we think the commission is too much. Okay. Well, just out of curiosity, I certainly appreciate that. And thanks for letting me know that. And just out of curiosity, what is it about the professional fee that causes you some concern? What is it about the brokerage fee? What about the professional fee? So I'm eliminating the word commission. So that's one of the objections you're going to have. Another objection you may have is that they're talking to another real estate agent, or that they're going to talk to some more real estate agents. That's 2. Number 3, one that you'll get, we want to wait. We want to wait. That's a common one. Another one that you might get, you know, we gave this a little bit more thought and we looked at some YouTube videos, and we're going to go ahead and sell it ourselves. Another one might be that they don't think that they're getting enough for the house. Well, we don't think that we're getting enough. All right, so I'm going to leave it at those objections. Any questions thus far? Any questions?
Would you use agent compensation instead of the commission? Or would you think?
I mean, almost anything is better than commission, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I think I would.
I wasn't sure if maybe that was too close to commission, or if that just wasn't something that.
Well, here's the thing. One of the things I've been stressing to you guys is to position yourselves as consultants. Okay, so if I'm a consultant, I want to have a language that kind of goes along with that. So I probably would say professional fee or fee for service, because that's probably how a consultant would speak.
And it's not really an agent fee or a realtor fee. It's the brokerage fee, and then the broker really pays us. So to say it's our fee, it's really not. It's our broker's fee.
Yeah.
So
And
your
you can even-
terminology, I like.
Yeah, and you could even say brokerage. You could even say brokerage fee if you choose to. I would just stay away from just commission personally. Okay, because I'm positioning myself as a consultant. So I want to stay in that theme. So when I come out, I want to be dressed as a consultant. I want to look like a consultant. I want to ask consultant questions. I want to have consultants speak, if you get me. So you got to tie the whole package together. You don't want anything to be out of alignment. So you want everything in alignment.
Hey,
Because
Tyrone.
some agents are going out today, and it's just me. Some agents are losing money just because of the way that they dress. So somebody's I'm making the biggest decision that I'm going to make. And the average house now, because I know in Prince George's County now, the average sales price now is around $400,000. So somebody paying 6% on that, that's $24,000. So if somebody's standing in front of me and they don't even look like $24,000, that's a strike against you. They may not say anything. So yeah, I could come out there with work boots on and coveralls, but I'm not going to do that. People judge you by what your presentation, they don't know you. So the first thing people are going to do, and you see it in some of those old movies, because you could tell like maybe I might be, I'm not a millennial from some of these things I've referenced. And one of the things I like in some of the old movies, they would say, yeah, you know, I really like that guy because I like the cut of his jib. I like the cut of his jib. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know that some of y'all can't relate to that because you're millennials. So I'm gonna keep moving because I know y'all can't get that. I'm just gonna keep pushing. All right, look that one up. Google that.
Hey, Tyrone.
Yes.
Quick one. So in today's market, with it being, you know, obviously such a super strong seller's market, when you reach the objection of you know, gee, 6% seems kind of high, blah blah blah. Are you finding that? Is there anything about today's market and the way that it's going that impacts whether or not, you know, how sellers feel about the commission? Do they feel even more justified in trying to knock the commission rate down because the houses are selling themselves? And if so, how do you react to that objection?
Okay, well, Robert, I can certainly appreciate the fact that you said that you wanted a lower brokerage fee. Is that what I'm hearing? Robert?
Yeah, my wife and I, we understand that the standard commission rate is 6%, and Keller Williams is a top realty company, but we feel like our house is going to sell itself, so we don't really want to pay that much.
Okay, well, I mean, that's reasonable because, I mean, if I could save, you know, $24,000, I would want to save it. I would want to save it too, Robert. Let me ask you this, Robert. What's most important to you? Is it what I'm going to make or what you're going to net? Which is most important to you?
What I'm going to net.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you said that because I want to share a statistic with you. Robert, right now, of the homes that I'm selling, I'm getting sellers 100.4% of list price to contract price. And I'm sure that you guys would love to get that too.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Now, I can't guarantee you any amount because we don't know who the buyer would be, but I'm sure that you want to net as much money as possible, and that's why you hired me. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's think about it. If I could put more money in your pocket, then I should be able to share in that, right? Since I'm making it happen.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's make sure that we're concentrating on what you guys are going to walk away with, because you certainly want to put that money to good use, right?
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do the right thing and, you know, go ahead and authorize my discounted brokerage fee at 6%, because normally I charge 7%.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right, so now with that,
Excellent.
that's coming from scripting. This is where you have to practice your scripts and your dialogues, and most agents, they don't put any time into that at all. Mega agents script practice daily. Daily. Mega agents script practice daily. Daily. I do a session every morning with my agents here. It's called Command Your Day. We call it CYD. We're on at 9 o'clock in the mornings, and we script practice and role play for an hour prior to them getting on the phones and making their calls. So you want to practice your scripts and role play. So thanks for that, bringing that up too, Robert. I appreciate that. You guys are really doing some good stuff tonight. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. What else? Somebody said they need to be a psychologist and play mind games. That's interesting. Okay. I was just looking at some things in the chat. Professional fee, Coach T, we can't save. Can you edit the settings so we can save the chat? I don't know about that. How do you do it? But somebody can tell me maybe at the end or something. I see a new message flashed up. So somebody tell me about the how you can do that. All right, let me keep going, but the call is recorded, by the way, so it is definitely recorded. The chat, I can't make you any promises on that right now. But if there's a way, I'll try to do it. All right, let's see what else. This thing is crazy. All right, home walkthrough. All right, this is where you want to actually, here's what I'd recommend. When you're going to go out on a listing consultation, one thing that I would do is I would take a clipboard with me. I would have a pre-printed property inspection worksheet on my clipboard, so that when I go through that house, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes on anything that may need repair. I'm grading the rooms of the house as I go through. And when I started in real estate, I wasn't a listing agent. In the first 5 years I was in the business, I predominantly had buyers. Probably like 97.5% of any of the transactions I did were buyer transactions. And it wasn't until I got training 5 years in, specifically on becoming a listing agent, like some of the training you guys are getting tonight. Excuse me. And once I got that training, and I transitioned my business to 75% listings, 25% buyers. And what I found was I started using a clipboard, and I would rate the rooms, because I wasn't good in the beginning at coming up with values for properties. And that helped me to be a lot better. So I would rate the kitchen. Is the kitchen an A, B, a C, or a D? Really, a D is an F. But of course, I wouldn't want to put that on the sheet for somebody to see that they got an F. So I'll disguise it as like a D. And then I would give the house an overall rating. So if they were A plus, then I might be more inclined to price it in the upper part of the range. But if you were like a C plus, you're just average. So I'm typically don't want to go aggressive on the price if you're coming out average. So I'm gonna be more conservative. So that was just how I did it, because I didn't have listings and I wasn't good at that. So that helped me to price the property. And remember, condition affects price. Now, in the market that we're in, you can get away with a lot, but this market is going to change at some point. So I don't want to be on and just teaching you things just for the hottest real estate market in the history of real estate. No, because this is going to change. There's no doubt about it. Okay, at some point, it will change. That's the nature of real estate. The market never stays the same. All right, closing the deal. All right, so for closing the deal, all right, this is where you get through your consultation. You should have an idea of whether you have this listing or not. Because the other thing I would say, get good at making sure that you're presenting Keller Williams services and finding out, do they want them? So you need to be like, if you do open houses or something like that, let them know. Some people don't want open houses. No, we don't want our house open. You do social media. Do they want any social media? Some people don't want Facebook. Some people don't want Twitter. Some people don't want TikTok videos. I don't know. You have Command that can help a seller. You have your mobile app that can help a seller. So these are reasons that people should take action with you. And guess what? All of these things that we have available to them, and we're the #1 brokerage in the world. So with Keller Williams, we're going to have more than anybody else because we're the or we wouldn't be #1. So we have more than anybody else. So I want to know, of these services that I can offer you, which are the ones you want? And then guess what? That actually validates your value proposition. Because if I got all of this, because I could ask you a question. So based on all of these 8 things that you say that you'd like me to do, Robert, which one of these is the thing that's going to get your house sold? You don't know. Nobody knows. But guess what? Do you want all of them? Yeah, they do. Absolutely. Okay. And, you know, and like I say, I don't normally do this, but that's why I'm willing to discount the brokerage fee to you to 6%. And you still get all of this. So if you're not showing people what they're going to get, why would they? Here's something to remember that somebody taught me. In the absence of value, price is always a concern. In the absence of value, price is always a concern. I'll repeat it again. In the absence of value, price is always a concern. Let me put it in the chat. Okay. All right, so I put it in the chat. And think about this. This applies to all of us. We all make decisions on what we're going to buy or what we're not going to buy from the value that we perceive on that item. When you're in the store, most of the time, depends on what kind of store you're in. Let's say you're in a, I don't know, just a, I don't know. Let's say you're in the drugstore or something. All right. Typically on the shelves, they're going to have whatever the product is. They're typically going to have like 3 of them of that same product. All right. And in today's time, one is going to be a generic brand. Then one is going to be a store brand. And then something is going to be the top of the line thing. In many cases, what consumers will do, and many of the stores know it, the consumers a lot of time will pick the one in the middle, because then they feel, I'm not getting the one that's worthless, that's the cheapest one, and I'm not getting the most expensive one. So sometimes it's making me just think about this. Sometimes when you go out on a listing consultation, then you might want to have 3 pricing points for your services. Top of the line is 7. You get the bip, 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 and bip and bop. The bottom service is whatever. You get this, 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 this. Now, if you do this one, you get everything that's in the silver, but you get the this, the this, the this, the this, and the this. Now, if you go with my platinum package, you get everything in the silver, everything in the gold. Now, in addition to that, you get the dit, 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 the dit. There's some people out there that are platinum people. So why should I deny you the privilege of going platinum with me if you platinum? There's some people that are. There's some people that are not going to buy. There's some people that won't buy. If it's not a designer label, they're not going to buy it. That's just who they are. There's some people, if it's not a certain vehicle, they're not going to buy it. There's some people that if you go out and you drink alcohol and you go out, there's some people that are not going to drink rail drinks. They're going to drink top shelf. You couldn't give them a rail drink. They're not going to do that. So we can't think that everybody is a Kmart shopper. There's some Nordstrom people out here. So don't turn your Nordstrom people away. All right. Okay. Who's cheap and gets amazing deals? Okay. Where are we at? All right. Let's see. We talked about closing the deal. We talked about that already. Let's see what we got over here. How has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? Anybody had any mindset shifts tonight? Shout it out. Let us know your name and any ahas. Shout it out. Any mindset changes? What ideas or mindsets were new? Come on, y'all. This is for you.
I think learning to use my transferable skills when you were talking about nerds, IT people and things like that, as far as what I'm bringing to the table, and then learning the listing presentations to also market what services we offer and what I bring to the table.
Okay, beautiful. All right. What does anybody feel differently about tonight? What was meaningful to you this evening? Anybody else?
I really liked what you said about value proposition. I've been in finance, CPA, and all that for over 30 years, and I'm
wow.
making a change, and I've quite honestly, I'm kind of scared of, going into this brand new field, after being in another field for so many years. And you helped me understand that I can create a mindset around a value proposition that, because of my background in finance and in helping people understand the bottom line and save money and things like that, it can help me get my foot in the door maybe a little bit more quickly than I originally thought. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. All right. All right. Another question. How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take going forward? That's the implementation and execution. Anybody got something that they're going to hear? If you have something that you're thinking about implementing, make sure that you schedule it and put a date beside it to do it within the next 24 hours. Within the next 24 hours. It's more likely to happen. All right. Another question. What tools, models, or systems will you definitely use? How will they make you accountable? One of them is getting your goals in command. That would be one of the first things I would say to you guys. Get your 2022 income goal into command. And that's in your reports. That's number 9 down on the left-hand side in command, where you have your, where you put your contacts in. It's the number 9 icon on the left-hand side. Okay. All right. All right, so we did that part. Now, here's an Ignite formula. This is the Ignite formula for your day. What they're saying is you should make 10 contacts a day and have 10 contacts added to your database, which is command, or your data bank, as I like to say. So make 10 contacts, add 10 contacts to command, do 10 handwritten notes. You can go to Michael's, you can go to the dollar store. I stock up on them when I go to the dollar store, especially the thank you notes, because people don't say thank you a lot anymore. And it could be for the least little thing. And people don't get handwritten notes anymore. The other thing I would say to you is go ahead and go to Costco, because they have the stamps discounted, and get you a roll of 100 stamps. Get 100 stamps. Then go back, stamp the envelope, stamp 100 envelopes so that they're already pre-stamped. And then start your card, whatever your note card is. That way you're ready to go. You can also, if you wanted to, you could also just write some generic thank yous or just generic messages and put them in the card. You already got the stamp on it. And then as you go through the course of your day, just figure out who you want to give one to. Somebody may be nice to you at the cleaners. Somebody might be nice to you at where you pick up your food. Somebody might be nice that was doing your taxes. Somebody might be nice to you at your child's daycare. Somebody could be nice, you pick your grandkids up, they were nice. People don't expect that. All right, and then the other one is preview 10 homes. So preview 10 homes. Now you can, depending on what your broker says, I mean, a lot of times when I've taught Ignite, we've said that you can preview like 8 of the 10 from the computer, but we want you to see some live properties. So you don't have to be in every property, but listen to whatever your broker advises you. Okay, you want to be sure to follow your broker's advice. All right, so we talked about, we were just talking about this, scripting, of why scripting is so important. And in order to know your scripts, here's the thing with this. You really want to have a mindset of being diligent on this. You really do. Because here's a couple of things. Because agents will fight scripts. I fought them. Because what people will say is, well, that doesn't sound like me. I wouldn't use those words. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds like I'm reading it. Well, yeah, it sounds like you're reading it. If you haven't rehearsed it, absolutely. That's exactly how it sounds, just like you're reading. You're absolutely right. Oh, that doesn't sound like me. Well, when you start talking to people that you really don't know, guess what? They don't know how you sound like. So who you do want to sound like? You want to sound like the mega agents that have practiced their scripts and dialogues. That's who you want to sound like. So as somebody once said, until you get to the point where you're doing, 100, 200, 300 transactions in a year, then sound like the people that do. Man, I'm not trying to be smart with anybody. I'm just saying. Because the main thing with scripting is it's not going to feel natural and you're not going to be comfortable, and you shouldn't be. Because you're learning to sound like someone that's making the money that you want to make. As Gary Keller says, success leaves clues. Okay, so practice those scripts and dialogues. Now, I was fortunate tonight because this doesn't happen like this, and I just have to shout them out again. I just really have to shout Donna out again and shout Robert out again, because they came off. I didn't know where they were going to go. I mean, she just came up with an objection on the spot, and Robert had an objection. Now, did I sound like I'm reading a script? No. Was I lost when they came up with the objection? No. Now, that takes years of practice. I didn't get that in 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. It takes years. But that's the difference between having an opportunity and getting paid and having an opportunity and not getting paid. Because when an agent runs up against the agent that is scripted, that's the one that gets paid. So in your day, that should be included in your day. That's part of your job description. All right, we said identify objections, close deals, speak in terms the customer understands, build confidence. We talked about that. There it is, role play and script practice. So here's what I want you to do, because I want you to get some role play in here. Because we've got a few minutes left. I want you to take the next at least 10 minutes, and I want you to role play just qualifying a seller. Now, in terms of the questions you would ask to qualify someone that wants to sell. Let me see. I don't know if I have. Let's see, remote control. Let me see if I had breakout. I don't know if I have any breakout rooms. Let me stop sharing. And here, let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can get a couple of people in some breakout rooms. I'd like to do like maybe, how many people we got on? We got 25 on. Maybe I'll be ambitious and see if I can do 3. All right, so I'm gonna put you in, I might do 4 just for the sake of it, because then we have fewer people. All right, so let's say 4. And let's see, okay. So I'm looking at the rooms. All right, so I'm gonna open all of the rooms. So I can see some of the people in the rooms. I can see Candace, I can see Corel, I can see, looks like Jean, Martin. I've got Justin, some of you are in different rooms, Destiny. So I'm gonna open the rooms, and all I want you to do is I want one person to go ahead and start and ask another person that's in that breakout room. They're gonna be pretend that they are the seller, okay? The other people listen, and then you might wanna write down what could they have asked, what did they not ask. Don't worry about making mistakes or any of that. We're on here. You're not in front of a seller, so you're not losing any money, so don't worry about it. I just want you to practice hearing yourself be able to ask these questions, especially if you have not had listings. Okay, so hopefully everybody is good with that. So I'm gonna open all of the rooms, and then you can go ahead and practice. Okay, so here we go. I'm opening the rooms, and all participants have invited to join. So go ahead and join the breakout room that you're in. Okay, and then we'll debrief after that. Okay. All right, so start practicing. So go into your breakout room and practice those questions. You've got a person that wants to sell. What are the questions that you're going to use on your client qualifier? Okay, then give the next person a chance to go. So I want to get as many people involved as possible. All right, so go ahead and start. And then I'll come back and close it out in a little bit. I'll give you about like maybe like 8 minutes or so. All right, and then we'll wrap up. I just wanted to get some feedback on what was that experience like? How frightening was it for some of you? How scary was it?
It was scary.
Huh?
Real scary.
Real scary.
A little nervous.
Well, just think about it. It wasn't a person that was going to buy or sell something with you, so you didn't lose any money. How's that?
That's right.
Oh, somebody else said very scary. That's funny.
Yes.
However, the more you do it, the less scarier it is. So look, I want to thank you guys for being on tonight. I really enjoyed being on with you. I hope I shared some information with you that will, help you accelerate your real estate career and, be able to achieve the goals that you've set for you and your family. There's a saying that people say, people want to change their circumstances. However, they're unwilling to change themselves. And therefore they remain bound. And that's from Dr. Richard Allen. So just think about that. And I put my number in the chat, so hopefully you got it. I don't know if I need to put it in again, but I'll put it in again. I'll put it in the chat just in case you had any follow-up questions. And I would like you to do this for me though, because I would like you to at least complete the little survey that they have. They do a, you can do a screenshot of the QR code, and I'll share that. And if you would just give me a rating on that, I would really appreciate that if you would do that for me. Let me get it to the end. And if you would just snap the QR code with your camera, and you would have to put my name in, because they have a drop-down box of some of the instructors, but just put my name in. And if you would rate me, I would certainly appreciate that. So if you would please screenshot the QR code and access the survey, or you can go to the website, www.surveymonkey.com. And it was a pleasure being on with you guys. So just screenshot it for me. Give me a little love on the survey, and I would appreciate it. So you guys have a great evening. And if I can ever be of help to you, please let me know, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so be successful. And we are done for tonight. And don't forget your next Ignite sessions, because we have other Dynamite instructors that will be on. So stay on and hear from some other great instructors as well, because Keller Williams, we have no loss of great instructors. So good night to everyone.